Hey guys, I'm Pixel Dan, and this is a review of the Masters of the Universe Ultimate Filmation Skeletor. Just like with our Filmation He-Man, Super 7 has also reissued the Filmation Skeletor action figure in this brand new Ultimate Edition format. This is pretty great because the original Filmation Skeletor was released by Mattel. A lot of fans missed out on some of those earlier releases, so this gave fans the chance to buy him again, but with new packaging and even some new included accessories. So as you can see, he does come on that blister card that resembles the vintage Masters of the Universe action figures from Mattel, complete with the bursting red rocks in the background, the blue starry sky, and the vintage Masters of the Universe logo at the top. I absolutely love this packaging. It's beautiful. Skeletor's is a bit unique because he's got that huge Havoc staff, so you can kind of see it kind of bursting out of the blister bubble up here. It's got like its own unique blister to hold that in, and there's even an art card in the back, which is very reminiscent of the mini comics that came with the vintage toys. So you can see the figure with lots of accessories there, and if we flip it around to the backside, we've got a cross-sell here showing some of the other figures that Super 7 has released, as well as this great little drawn instructions, which is a great nod to the vintage toy line that usually showed action features, but in this case, it shows you how to swap heads by pulling it off the peg there. And then up at the top, we've got a great classic image of Skeletor from the original cartoon series that says Skeletor shakes his horrible Havoc staff above his head while celebrating his latest plan. Yes! Let's open up this Skeletor and take a closer look at him. Alright, let's take a look at our Ultimate Club Grayskull Skeletor outside of the packaging, starting with the scale. If I bring in the tape measure here, you can see the figure stands right at 7 inches tall. So, this is of course based on his appearance in the original Filmation He-Man and the Masters of the Universe animated series, so a lot of the detailing here is a little less. You don't have as many intricate details on the arm or anything like that. He's meant to look the way he appeared in the cartoon series, and I really think this sculpt does a pretty fantastic job of that. Now, much like in my Ultimate He-Man review, I feel like since this is a reissue, the important thing to focus on in this video is what differentiates this particular figure from the original release. So early on in the video, it's comparison time. So I am bringing in the original Mattel release of the Filmation Skeletor to stand right alongside the Super 7 figure here. And right away, you probably notice the difference in colors. The Mattel release over here has a much more pale blue skin tone, while the Super 7 one is much more vibrant, which I actually like quite a bit because he definitely has more of that animated vibe because of it. Also, the armor on Super 7s, the armor and the hood, is a much deeper purple. The purple that's used on the Mattel one actually has some black wash in there, like some shading, which is actually odd for their Filmation figures because usually they don't add those extra details. So, I honestly think the purple on the Super 7 one is much improved. I like the colors on the new figure much more than the original release. And that even goes for the skull face, because the new Super 7 figure here has a much brighter yellow, and there's some really nice black painted inside the mouth, the eyes, and they painted black inside the hood to help darken it up. You'll notice the Mattel release does not have the black paint inside the hood. I really like that addition because it really helps to make the skull stand out even more, and it really shows off how good the sculpt actually is. This sculpt looks just like the animated version. It's fantastic. So the new figure from Super 7, I feel like did it better than the original Mattel release. Now, as far as other differences, the figure itself mostly looks the same as far as the sculpt-wise and the articulation goes. The biggest other difference is going to be down here in the ankles, where you can see that, like with their Ultimate He-Man, Super 7 did also fix the ankles on this new Skeletor. Those first couple Club Grayskull figures from Mattel had some very ugly ankle articulation, but it still has the same kind of articulation. So you can see it still rocks side to side, still moves forwards and backwards, and they're nice and tight, plus the joints are hidden, unlike the Mattel release. So it's really interesting to look at these side by side because there's only a couple years between the releases, but this is one that I feel pretty confident in saying that the new reissue from Super 7 is better pretty much all around. So let's go ahead and start taking a look at Skeletor's accessories here. So first of all, he does include the Havoc Staff, of course. This is based on the animated appearance, and it was something that came with the original Mattel release, so we're already pretty familiar with that. But it's a pivotal, accessory for Skeletor. You absolutely have to have his Havoc Staff because it's something we saw him with so much in the animated series. But we've got a couple of different accessories that come with this version that did not come with the Mattel release, such as the sword with the little crossbones on it. Nice addition, something we saw in the animated series, and it allows us to display our Skeletor with a sword so he can do battle against He-Man. Also, we get his battle axe with the little crystal on the top. This is another famous weapon that comes directly out of the animated series. We've seen renditions of this in the Masters of the Universe Classics line before, but this is the first time we actually get the axe with our Filmation Skeletor action figure, and it's definitely a welcome addition. And of course, we've got one of the most famous artifacts from the Filmation cartoon series, the Diamond Ray of Disappearance. Now again, this is another accessory that we've seen in the past in the Classics line, but it's such a great accessory to include with your Filmation figure. It's just got this little box that's open, it's got the little diamond inside, it is just all painted. I kind of want to get nitpicky here and say I wish that the diamond was like made of a translucent plastic. That would have looked really cool, but again, I'm being nitpicky because I think this is such a great accessory. The only thing is that his hands aren't really molded to hold it. You can still rest it in his hand. You just got to find the right pose there, but that way you can pose him holding open the box there so he can make people disappear. I love this accessory. And lastly, Skeletor comes with his own swappable head. Now, he doesn't have as many as Ultimate He-Man, but he does come with one in the form of the laughing Skeletor head. Now, almost at first glance, it doesn't look too much different than the regular one, but if you put them side by side, you can see that this new head has a much more wide open mouth with a big old smile on his face. It's very easy just to kind of pop the head off of the ball joint on his neck there, just like we've seen with classics in the past, and then we can pop the new head on in its place. And I will say that it looks pretty funny on him, like just in a normal stance, but the whole idea here is to try to get that, throwing his head back, throwing his arms up in the air, getting that laughing pose like the animated series. I like it. I like the idea of it. I don't know if it really translates well into action figure form. Like, I was trying to get that, everybody knows the pose with him with his fists up in the air laughing. I was trying to pull it off. I don't know. It's a little funny looking in action figure form, but I do appreciate the extra head. So there you go, my friends. There is a look at the brand new Ultimate version of Filmation Skeletor. All in all, I feel like this improves upon the original Mattel release in many, many ways. I think the colors and the paint deco are much better on this version, plus he comes with a ton of accessories. So if you missed out on the original Skeletor before, hopefully you got your hands on this one. But even if you've got the original one, I would say it's worth picking this one up just because of all of the improvements that were made to this particular figure. Now, of course, this was sold exclusively through a pre-order on Super 7's website, so if you missed out on that, your only chance of picking this figure up at this point is to find him on the secondary market. So happy hunting, my friends! Hey guys, thank you so much for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, hit that like button, leave me a comment, let me know what you think of this guy, and don't forget to subscribe. Until next time, my friends.